And that opened my eyes to say that real estate is possible for anyone. There's a misconception out there that I lived my majority of my life thinking that for real estate you had to either have a lot of money or had to be born into it, or whatever excuse people say that why they can't. But when I realized that, like, oh, like anyone can do this, like it's not some secret society, some secret club, and it was on after that. I was like, okay, like I can figure this out.
Imagine you're 16 years old and you get a job at Denny's, right? You start working at Denny's, you start getting some paychecks, you start learning about the restaurant business. And then 2 years later, your dad actually opens up his own Denny's in a teeny town called Abilene, Texas. And guess what? You're 18. You're in college, you're working there on the weekends, right? You don't get weekends in college. You were going to work for the family business. And then you're putting in, not right after college, you're putting in 70 hours a week, because what happens is you and your family go and open 11 other restaurants, and you're working like crazy. And you're doing this for 21 years. And then in 2021, you start taking massive action. You know that there is more to life than just working in the restaurant business, just working this family business. And you wanted to go out there and you realize that real estate is the most proven path to financial freedom. So you start getting as much information as possible. You start connecting with as many real estate investors as possible. And right now, you've closed 12 wholesale deals and are building momentum every single day, every week, every month in your business. That is a story of the podcast interview that we're going to have today, and it's going to be absolutely bananas. It is my pleasure to bring Adil Kayati to the podcast. Welcome to the Rhino Tribe. Welcome to Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Man, what an honor. I listen to it like every day, so it's surreal being on here. I appreciate you having me.
And just in case you don't know, I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People. But I didn't even remember that because I'm so excited about this conversation that we're going to have. So listen, you've done 12 deals, and you texted me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago and said, I just closed my biggest deal ever, and we're going to break that deal down. But, I mean, how did you fit in? I want to just jump right into like now, and then we can kind of unpack how we got here. But how did you do 12 deals while also owning? Now you sold some of the Denny's. Now you own 6 of them, and you actually have those for sale right now, or going to be closing on those. But you're selling all these businesses. You've been involved in this restaurant business for 21 years. How did you fit doing real estate wholesaling and real estate investing into your life?
Yeah, I think really the main thing is if you really want something, I mean you'll figure out a way to make time for it. I mean, it was important to me. I kind of told my wife and some friends that I was doing it just to make sure that I couldn't back out. And no, I was just determined. When I get something, I'm the type of person when I get something in my mind, like I'm going to see it through. And I just made it happen. Just whenever you have time, all you need to start, especially doing it part-time, is like 2-3 hours a day, like 5 days a week. Maybe you throw some Saturdays in there driving for dollars. It's really not some drastic, 60-hour work week. I mean, you can do that, of course, but if you're just starting, I think you just need a couple hours a day, commit to whatever marketing channel you choose, which I would say do, cold calling, but and just be consistent with it, just be consistent.
Well, you've got a lot of techniques, and you've learned from a lot of incredible mentors out in our space, and we'll get into all of that. But Did you just hear from customers that real estate was amazing? Did you hear from friends and family that were doing some interesting real estate transactions? Like, how do you all of a sudden, you're in the world, you're head down, you're building this empire of Denny's out there with your dad and your brother. So it truly is a family business. And then all of a sudden you're going to meetups about real estate investing in RIAs. Like, what was the catalyst for that?
Yeah, I mean, I always, when was just curious on how to become wealthy. Not just a lot of money in the bank, but generational wealth and pass and how much to build passive income, not to worry about having to work every day. And the majority of people that I've heard or read was either through real estate or through the stock market, trading, which I did try that for a few months and found out it wasn't something that I liked doing. So then I said, then COVID happened, restaurants shut down. I had to go work at a different brand for about 13, 14 months. First time in my life, I actually had a boss that I didn't call dad. So it was a really eye-opening experience. And like I said earlier, it was like a, what am I looking for? Like a, sorry, my mind went blank. Is open my eyes to other opportunities out there.
Yeah,
I got out of the Denny's bubble and the family bubble and saw that, hey, there's other opportunities out there. There's other ways to operate a business. There's other ways that people are making money. And I didn't want to be stuck how I was in COVID again in my life. I never wanted to have to be like scrambling for work or thinking that like, what am I going to do next, right? Like, I just wanted to make sure that that never happened again. And I said I'm gonna buy my first rental. I just said I was committed to it. That's how it kind of started. And so I went to a Jack's RIA here, a local RIA group here. And I wish I remembered her name, but I don't. And she was talking. It was like a real estate 101 type deal, just kind of basics of real
sure.
estate. And the whole time she was talking, she kept bringing up this guy named Ron LeGrand, Ron LeGrand, Ron LeGrand. The whole time she was like, he's here in Jacksonville, blah blah blah. So I said, okay. I went home, looked up Ron LeGrand, bought a course for like $100 from him. Went through that like honestly like in 2 hours. I was like, oh, okay. So then he had like a boot camp, 4-day boot camp here, like like 30 days after. Attended that, and that opened my eyes to say that real estate is possible for anyone. There's a misconception out there that I lived my majority of my life thinking that for real estate you had to either have a lot of money or had to be born into it or whatever excuse people say that why they can't. But when I realized that like, oh, like anyone can do this, like it's not some secret society, some secret club, and it was on after that. I was like, okay, like I can figure this out. Like, and I've always been the type of guy who's like, it's nothing against anybody, but if you can do it, I can do it. Right? There's obviously I'm never gonna like dunk a basketball, but anything business wise or like if you can do it, Brent, or if you can, John can do it, or whoever can do it,
Yep.
why can't I? Like, there's no
Yeah.
reason why. Um,
Where
I
does that
couldn't.
come from? Is that something that you've always felt? Is it something that you've experienced in, just business or growing up or something like, people can say that, and it's nice to say that. It's a lot different to actually believe it.
Yeah,
So, why do you believe that? How did you come to that belief?
yeah, that's a good question. I've always just had like I guess supreme confidence in me. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint. Growing up, I did. My dad was working for Denny's Corporation, and we moved around quite a bit, and so it forced me to adapt a lot and meet put myself out there and meet new people. And I think that kind of help build like this kind of armor or confidence that like, hey, I can walk into any situation and meet people and figure it out and do it. So I guess I would, if I had to pinpoint something, it would probably be that, just that level of like, hey, no matter where I'm at in whatever city I'm in, I could figure it out, right? So
Yeah, I think that's versatility. You
yeah,
know what I mean? I think it's one of those situations where you've been in so many different circumstances and so many different environments that, you can be comfortable knowing that you have the skills to be able to meet people and to provide value and to bring optimism to whatever situation. I think that that's a huge part of our business that maybe isn't as understood as a lot of the technical side of the business, right? On
yeah,
comping properties and looking for deals and having those good conversations, but that true belief, that true faith that wait, they're doing it, so it's possible, and now I could do it. I think it's so
correct.
powerful, and I think it's
Yeah,
really important, especially as you're making a transition, because it's not like you had this huge core amount of people, core family and friends and everything that were out there wholesaling real estate.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
I
you
didn't even
went
know
out
what it
there,
was.
right?
Yeah.
So you originally wanted to buy a rental. What? How did that work out?
Um, we do have a couple now. I didn't buy it then. I kind of bought them more recently, got
Sure.
into it, and eventually I want to go down that road. But I've really uh, listened to what you say and take it to heart, even through the podcast. And I know you're constantly just, hey, focus on building this business, of wholesaling, and stay focused until you have enough money and feel more comfortable, or whatever your goal is, you achieved it, and you want to venture out, and you have the thing operating well. Then so I've really taken that to heart, to be honest, and um, really focus on sourcing my own discounted properties, because then I've learned from then I can do whatever the hell I want with them. So when I get the deal, it's mine. If I choose to flip, I can. If I choose to wholesale, if I choose to keep, those are all options I can. But none of that starts without getting the deal first and learning how to get the deal. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's really interesting. I have a good friend named Jerry Norton, and he's big in this space, and he has an incredible YouTube channel. But he talked about freshman year is wholesaling, sophomore year is fix and flip, junior year is rentals, building your rental portfolio, and senior year is development and multifamily. And I agree with him. A lot of people try to jump to junior year before they really understand what's going on. And if you need cash flow from properties right now to live off of, oftentimes those people get crushed, absolutely crushed. So you were able to find the cash to actually bring in big chunks of income from these 12 deals that then allowed you to go and advance over to your rental portfolio, which is huge. And you're involved in some flipping already, and we can get into that and Yellowbird and that
yeah,
whole opportunity that you have there. But I think it's real important for people to understand that, like, if you just jump into this thing and you have a full-time 9 to 5 and you're expecting real estate to replace your income from the cash flow, it's not going to happen. The cash flow is for long term. This is for long term wealth. This is for building it. I mean, maybe if you're independently wealthy and you invest a ton and you go and you find some really good cash flow opportunities, maybe if you've got a low cost of living, but for the most part, we don't. We have families, we have kids, we have responsibilities, we have mortgages, we have all these other things. So learn how to wholesale first, just like Adel did, and watch what happens, because now you get to cherry pick the best deals that you can keep in your portfolio.
yeah. And I tell you, I love wholesaling because I love getting big checks, man. I've never
Yes.
gotten 10,000 or $15,000 check. I'm addicted to it right now. I'm sure eventually I'll kind of get in a rhythm where it's not as big a deal, I guess you could say. But right now I still have them hanging on the wall here. I still go pick up the checks and I still hang them up here in my office to walk by them every day. So
Adel,
it's
I'm
fun.
telling you, when you close that $50,000, right? That's when your
Yeah.
brain breaks. That's when you're like, oh, the sky's the limit. I really think that's the threshold, and especially in this economy right now, you close a $50,000. You see that $50,000 increase in your checking account, and you're like, what
Yeah.
is happening? This is absolutely incredible. I had 5,000 in there a day ago, and now it's 55,000. It's just incredible. So, anyway. How do you find your deals? Let's talk about that. So you were in between, you know, like work and family time? You were fitting in
Yeah.
this time to
Yeah.
go after these properties?
Yeah. I started, well, two things. I was terrified of the phone when I first started, and second reason I started mail was because I just wanted to be working for me because I was at work majority of the day. So I
Yep.
thought mail would be kind of like the better option to put it out there. People would call in, I would follow up with them and kind of do deals that way. Um, so that's still kind of my bread and butter is the mail. Postcards I send out. Probably I'm up to about 3,000 a month right now sending to mail, and that would be that's about a deal a month.
In
Um, so,
Jacksonville?
yes, sir. Yeah, and
Fantastic.
Jacksonville and
Okay.
surrounding areas. Yeah,
Cool. And
and
average deal size?
right now I've got it up to almost 14. So it's been
Okay.
building. My first few were like 3 and 5,000,
Yep.
but I've slowly went from 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 to 12. Now I'm at 18, so I'm trying to break that 20, which I should have
Yeah.
done a while ago, but I'm still working on that.
It's
Um,
all good.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, they're all great checks. You know what I mean? It's all great. I mean, it's a progress. It took me a long time to get my first $20,000 check, and then I got a $42,000 check, and it was like, oh my gosh, your
Yeah.
nervous system shuts down for a second. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway, so
Um,
direct mail. So you have it, and this is unique. You have a company that sends it out. Do they also take the calls in and then just send you the leads, or how does that work?
there's a voicemail set up for there, and then they also have VAs who follow up throughout the day. Anyone who calls, so I guess it's not live answering, but just there's a pretty lengthy voicemail, gets them the information. They'll either leave a voicemail or I'll have their phone number, and I'll basically call them back that way.
Awesome.
And just follow
And
up
you
from
said
there.
3,000 pieces a month
I
or a
just went
week?
up $3,000. That's about probably a little over 4,000 pieces a month. Yeah.
Got it. And do you split it up like each week it goes out?
Yeah, every Thursday. They send out
Awesome.
every Thursday, so
So
it'll
then your
charge
leads are coming in Friday, Saturday?
Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, yeah. So that you start getting heavy Saturday, basically Friday, Saturday, Sunday are the big heavy days. So I try to get to them on Saturday. As you know, speed is everything. So if you can get, especially with postcards, and I'm not live answering, so I'm already kind of behind the eight ball there. So I try and as soon as they call and I get them, I get alerts. I'll just try and call them as if I have time and call that time as soon as
Awesome.
possible.
Awesome.
Um, been got do texting, of course. Started doing that probably 4 or 5 months ago.
Hmm.
Did get I've gotten one deal from texting so far, and those are just texting distress lists. Typical code enforcement, water shutoffs, things. I tend to stick to lists that are harder to get. Essentially, they're not super hard, but I get a lot of my data from the county websites. I get code enforcement lists, water shutoffs from the local company here. I very rarely use prop stream list. And I do if I need more data, I'll pull some. I just
Sure.
try and get lists that are like they're not difficult to get, but a lot of people won't make the effort to create an account and then put a request in and then wait the 3 days to get it. Then you have to scrub that list, and so it's a process. But for me it gets some people off the trail essentially by making there's more loops to get through.
The harder the list, the less people going after it. A hundred
Yeah,
percent. A
yeah.
hundred percent. So is that just something that they send to you for free? The county will send that
Yeah, they'll
to
send
you
you
for
a
free?
list. I just requested. I usually do it once a month, and I'll get a month's worth of like code enforcements. They'll send it to
Yep.
me in a PDF file, which kind of sucks, but then I have to convert that to Excel and then clean it up. And I'm pretty good at Excel. Like it doesn't. It sounds a lot worse than it. is. It takes me about like 30 minutes. Like I'm really fast in Excel. I've learned it over the years. Taught myself Excel. So. Um, that yeah, that's and I do. I'm big on probates. I mail out my own personal hand signed probates.
How do you
It's
get the
only
probates list?
county website. I just every day,
Directly at them.
yeah, every day, whoever files probate, they're gonna get a letter from me signed. I write handwrite. It's only like 20 a week. It's really not that bad.
Sure.
It's between three counties
Yep.
here, and I print it off my computer. I'll sign it. I handwrite their address in so it looks real personal. So I guess I can't guarantee it's going to be open, but I would bet it gets open more than some regular mail. It's handwritten. People, I would open it, just to see who the hell is writing me.
Yep.
Um, and I've gotten what I think the last three deals have come from my own personal like just letters I send out. Yep, they'll call in and take it from there basically.
And you're working full time
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and you're
Everything.
selling your businesses,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
restaurants,
yep, yep.
and you're handwriting and you're sending out mailers. And by the way, and you're texting and of course you're calling.
Yeah, cold
I mean,
calling.
you're
Yep.
calling 2 hours a day at times.
Yeah, between follow up and cold calling, it's about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long it takes to get my contacts. Some days it's shorter, some days it's longer, depending on who picks up, how many people pick up that day, I guess.
Do you have to wear a name badge so that your family remembers who you are when you go home? Like, how does this happen?
Well, luckily, I work here in my office, and my daughter's here. She comes in and out occasionally. Um, I try and be done by 5 or 6. I just
Sure.
and my daughter just started kindergarten, so that's helped out a lot. So she didn't get home till 3, and my wife is fresh when she gets home, so she's cool with handling her for those 2 hours or 3, and I make sure I'm done by 6 or 6:30 to make sure dinner and bath I'm there for that. So I really hadn't found it that difficult to be honest with you. I just got to you got time block your day out and make
Yep.
sure that hey, this is the time I'm going to call. When I get home, I try not to lay down or even eat or do anything. I get home, change, hit the office, don't think about it, start dialing, get it over with, get it done, and my day's complete, right? So,
Yep.
I'm just been really religious about that. Just this is my time to call. Sorry, family. Like I know you may need me here or there for some things, and I can rearrange my schedule from time to time, but it's super important. And my wife, now that she's seen the checks rolling in, is more open to letting me do it, I guess, compared to the beginning. So
Sure.
that's helped a lot too. So
Well, and you hit it on the head. The transitions from one role in your life to the other role is really that's where a lot of the slippage is, right? If you were to lay down, if you were to eat, if you were to do something else and not get right into it and be excited to do that.
yeah,
This business should energize you. Yes, it's gonna stress you out and cause anxiety and cause fear and panic in the beginning, and you're gonna have to fight through that. But once you start closing these deals, once you start building up a pipeline of opportunities, all of a sudden you're chomping at the bit. You're chomping at the bit to go call that next
yeah,
lead. You're chomping at the bit to get them on the phone. You're like doing everything that you can in the time that you can so that it's as productive and profitable as possible. And it's just those transitions. Just watch the transitions that you have in life from one role to the other, because that's really where you could find yourself falling into some quicksand for sure.
yeah.
So let's break down a deal, Adel.
Okay, all
Let's
right.
do this thing, okay?
I know we were going to do the biggest one, but I like another one a little bit better.
Let's do that one.
Actually,
Well,
the biggest one I
tell them how much the biggest one is, and then
was
we'll go break down the
18.5.
other one.
It was 18.5, but actually it was a JV. So I actually was 37K spread on it. So I just got to get the end buyers better list going here for myself. But yeah, 18.5 was the biggest one, and it was the biggest and the easiest, which was, it was.
They usually are.
That's why there's no like story to it. It's literally like he called a piece of mail. I signed up, got the contract, and sold it. Like it was done in like 2 weeks. So like there's no story there. But I do have one that's a pretty crazy story. It was from a cold call. An older gentleman said, yeah, he had, he used to have
What
20,
what list, Adel?
um, driving for dollars.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was just one of mine from Deal Machine. I got, and the property I bought wasn't even the one that I had marked um, on the thing on the app. But when I talked to him, older man, he once had 20 properties. He's sold nine. He's getting rid of all of them. Tired. He's just tired of doing it. Um, he wanted to meet me in person, get out to there. So I thought, wow, this is great. We set up a time to meet. Then the following day, that night, there was another kind of Yellowbird Connect. That's a kind of like a RIA meeting, kind of networking event.
Yeah.
Went there, was telling all my buddies, hey man, I got this hot lead. Kind of tell them the story, and they were like, is his name Mr. Baker? And I was like, yeah, yeah. How did you know? He's like, dude, every investor in Jacksonville's talking to this guy. It's just so difficult to close. Like he's an older man. He's just very, very hard to deal with. So I was really discouraged at that point, but I went anyways. And this guy drug me around for 5 hours, to property to property to property. After the fact, after we were done, which was fine. We were seeing the property, so I thought, say, we're still good, right?
Yeah.
We're driving home, and his house wasn't in the greatest condition. He wasn't living in a great condition. He said, "Hey, I really need some. Can you? I can't drive anymore. Can you take me to get some groceries?" I said, sure. Walmart's down the road. Took him real quick. It's like 7:30 at night. Got him some stuff. On the way from the grocery store, he was like, "Hey, can we stop by at the nursing home and see my girlfriend?" So he has me driving around and all of the. So I'm just like, okay. So anyways, at the end of the day, we got back to his house. He has a number four daughter. His daughter handles all of the work.
Yep.
Got her on the phone. We agreed to a number. I thought it was a pretty high number at the time, but I said, okay, let's do this. I could take a chance on it. And it's when the market was hot too, so everything was selling for crazy. So I think you can almost get anything at that point. Um, we weren't agreed, so I think it was like a Friday. So reached out to her Saturday, no response. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, no response all week from her. Like she's just not answering my calls. Um, and in the meantime, Yellowbird, the company I work with here, they have like a hedge fund portal you can submit properties to, and they'll get bids for you from hedge funds. And whatever they come back, you can JV it. So at the time, I didn't really have any buyers, to be honest. I don't have an extensive list. So I did that, and we agreed to 160. The hedge fund came back at 190. So I was like, oh, I gotta figure this out. Like, this 30K and that's 15 for me. And I was like, I gotta figure this out. So I called him up that Friday. Hey, Mr. Baker, you good on groceries? You need anything from me? Yeah, yeah. Could you help come me on again? I said, okay. Went over there. On the way to the grocery store, he said, man, why aren't are you gonna buy one of my houses? I was like, yeah, I've been trying to, but your daughter, she hasn't answered my calls. I'll just, pulls out his cell phone as we're driving to Walmart. Hey, why haven't you responded to this guy? Like, he wants to buy the house, yada yada yada. Um, so she got me on the phone. Hey, send me the contract over. So okay, got it. We finally signed it. He wanted $1,000 cashier check made out to him. That's the way he does business. No, no, that's the only way.
Yeah.
Fine, gave him the 1,000. Hey, I'm not going to pay the taxes on the property either. You're gonna have to cover that at closing and the closing cost. I mean, this guy's a real, so fine, it was a big enough spread, so it made sense, right? We'll do yes, 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 yes. I got all that. Um, so in the mean, then turns out it's being rented. He doesn't have a lease. Hasn't seen the tenant in over 10 years. He just knows he's collected money from. Doesn't even know her name. Doesn't know
Yeah.
anything. So the hedge fund obviously need to know who's living in the property when they buy. So I wouldn't buy this property for 5 straight days, morning, noon, night, camping out there, just trying to catch whoever lives there. Left notes. No one's calling me. Finally got in touch with finally knocked on the door and met the tenant, told her the situation. Basically, I didn't tell her it was being sold because I didn't want to spook anybody or whatever. Hey, we're doing a house inspection because at the hedge fund need to get an inspection done in order to buy the property. Can we do it this day? Sure. Met up, did that. All was good. Came back, ready to close. Hedge funds wanted to use a title company, a law firm in Tampa Bay. So we closing. I've got Mr. Baker, picked him up, got him to the office, signed. His daughter, I promised his daughter I would bring him the check on Friday. She said, you have to promise me because he will back out of this if you don't have it on Friday for him. Okay, no problem. Hey, we're closing on Thursday. Shouldn't be a problem. Thursday we close. The law firm, for whatever reason, it's not funding until Friday, and they refused to overnight the check. Refused to overnight it on Thursday to be there for Friday for the funding, right? So I'm just like, why? Like, date the check for Friday. They just won't do it. That's their policy until everything's funded and closed. And I
Sure.
so I'm just like, I promised him and I promised her that they'd have the check on Friday. So what I so Friday morning, 4 a.m. I wake up, drive to Tampa Bay. It's like a 3 hour drive from Jacksonville. Get the law firm at 8 o'clock, right when they open, pick up the check, drive back to Jacksonville, meet Mr. Baker, drive him to the bank, and get his cash, his check cashed. And he took me out to Waffle House for to celebrate afterwards, I guess. But yeah, so I ended up closed and everything. But yeah, it was just a lot of work, that was. But at the time, I didn't have any other leads. I didn't have any other deals, right? And that was the
Sure.
most that I was ever going to make in one deal ever. So I walked away after the taxes. It was like 12.5. So what are you gonna do? Yeah,
12,500. Come on.
500.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, awesome, awesome, man. I appreciate it.
That is
Yeah,
incredible. Not only that, but he brings you to the enemy Waffle House afterwards.
yeah. I
Just
didn't even think about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, man. Sometimes you learn this business, and you say, I think I've heard you say it's a customer service business. You're in a people business, and sometimes you have to do things to get a deal done, man. Like, you just got to do what you got to do, and if it's worth it to you, and at the time that was, and I would do it again today for 12,000. If you told me I had to drive 3 hours, six
sure.
hour round trip for 12 grand, I would do it. I mean, what's it,
Get it
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Plus, it's an incredible story.
Yeah, it
You know
was,
what I
and
mean?
all my friends here, local investor friends, kind of joke, like I'm a legend now because I'm the only person that they know who's been able to close on this guy. So it's cool. It was cool. It's cool just to be able to to do something people said, hey, couldn't be done. And it goes back to what I told you. If someone, I'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
I'm just the type of guy. I'm going to figure it out, and we'll get this thing closed no matter what it takes. So
I
no,
love
it's
it. What are
cool.
you going to
Yeah.
do after your restaurant sell?
Just jumping into this full time. I mean, there's no plan B, man. This is it. I had, it's a scary because I've been on a salary since I was 18 years old. I've been on the consistent flow of money since then. But, there's a saying, what's a burn the ships? You familiar with that?
Yep.
Like it's, if I if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. And this is what I want to do. Like, I know I can do it. I've proven I can do it, doing it kind of part time. I've closed, 12 deals. So like, double down on what I'm doing, spend more time on the business, close more deals, get some more money, spend some more money on marketing or whatever avenue I want to go down, and um, build this business, man. Like,
And you have the confidence. You have the
yeah,
confidence to know that you've already closed those 12 deals. You know the confidence that you've already been through some of these, kind of rougher and tougher transactions, and you know that you can get through it, and you can get it closed, and you can get paid, and you can move forward, and keep being of service to the people in Jacksonville, and then wherever else you want to do it. So I love it, man. I'm excited for you to go full time. I think you're going to absolutely blow the doors off. It's going to be absolutely bananas,
I appreciate it.
and about time, right?
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's really interesting that, for somebody that has been in a family business for 21 years and having that same routine and having the salary and having all those things, and you still have in your brain that entrepreneurial, seed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And you fed that, and you've done the 12 deals. You know what you're doing. You know how to be successful. You're making the connections, and now your world's changed. And bro, it's been just over, like, it hasn't even been a year and a half.
yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
absolutely incredible. So you're just a wonderful example of what happens when you stay consistent and you believe in yourself. And I absolutely love that. So, Adel, how do people get a hold of you? How can people reach out and just say congratulations, or they want to work with you in Jacksonville? How do they do that?
Yeah, I would say the best thing would probably be Facebook, to be honest with you. I'm not big social media. The only thing I have is Facebook. I know you talk about getting loud, so maybe I need to start, getting on Instagram and things of that
Sure.
nature. But Facebook DM, or you can email me. My company email is ktex, KAYTEX properties at hotmail.com. I'll respond to either of those. And
How
that's
did you get a Hotmail account? That's wild. That's what I want to know.
Oh yeah, people ask me that all the time. I don't know. It was just an option. I still have my personal one is Hotmail too, but I've had that since I was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I mean, yeah, it's really, it's one of those stories that you hear, and even myself, and I've done thousands of deals, and I'm like, I remember those first 12. You know what I mean? I remember going through and going the extra mile and putting everything in, and trying my best just to keep every transaction together, and provide as much value as possible. And I think if you keep that as the core, as you build your business even bigger, I think you could be the biggest in Jacksonville. I really do. If you keep that customer service that you've learned for so many years in being in the restaurant industry, and then even transferring that over into your real estate business, it's incredible. So, congratulations! I'm
thank
excited
you.
to cheerlead you and watch your growth and watch you absolutely do amazing things in your business. So, thanks for
Awesome.
being on here.
No, I appreciate everything, and again, I just want to say thanks, man. I feel like I know you, and I don't really know you. I mean, it's from the podcast, but there have been many days where didn't feel like doing it, or maybe I felt like quitting, or I didn't know what I was doing. And man, I popped on the podcast, and you always had such inspirational things to say, and
When you're
I'm
part of the
telling
TTB family,
you,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
joined
yeah,
and you're part of the TTB family. So I mean that lasts forever. So well, thank you. I really
yeah.
appreciate it. And for everybody out there, a resource that Adel mentioned was Deal Machine. Go to dealmachine.com. That's the Driving for Dollars app. 80% of brand new real estate investors get their first deal from Driving for Dollars. So check that out. I highly suggest you get that app. Dealmachine.com. Use the coupon code TTP, like talk to people. And it's the biggest discount that they give. And if you're interested in joining the most proactive community in real estate investing, it is the Rhino Tribe. Go to wholesalinginc.com, wholesalinginc.com. Check out what it's all about. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call, and that's it. Adel, thank you so much for being on here, and for everybody out there. As always, I encourage you to go out there and talk to people. Till next time, love you guys. See ya.